Let's have a quick review of SMSL D10, which is a very small and very portable DAC at only $69.99, also known as $70 US. For that amount of money, you do get USB-C input, two analog outputs, one is single-ended, the other one is balanced, and you have a window to your internals. I guess people just like looking at SMD components now. But I'll admit, it does look cool, and if it's not costing any extra, why the hell not? Other than that, nothing really to talk about. There's a volume rocker, no other buttons, no display or any settings that you can tinker with, and I'll put the DAC chip that's used in this DAC on the screen, and also power rating. A simple device needs no complicated introduction, so let's talk about how it really sounds. Now D10 is one of these DACs that sound almost perfectly flat and neutral tonally speaking. Bassline is fast, it's precise, it's very tidy, and it times perfectly, but it's not particularly weighty, punchy, or just warm if you like that kind of bassline. And the mid-range, once again, really precise, really punctual. It layers and separates really nicely, and it even has a quite rich tone timbre, which is usually not something I expect from a DAC at this price, below $100 US, I have to admit. But this DAC has it. If you play, for example, like a really good female vocal with tonally rich voice, you'll hear more than you'd expect at this price point. And highest frequencies are well extended, once again, highly detailed and revealing, and also not at all congested or too thin and too analytical. There's like decent airiness happening and very good sensation of separation and just space around the instruments and layering of those instruments. Now don't get me wrong, every time I talk about something like this, I always take the price into the account. Because, for example, I remember once somebody commented on my review of a DAC dongle of around $100 US and said, "You're lying, it doesn't have good soundstage at all." I compared it to my Denafrip Series, and they was like, wait. You compared a $100 US portable DAC with a $750 or $850 US desktop DAC. It's not logical. You cannot expect absolutely huge sound staging from something like this. But in terms of its pricing, and here when I say in terms of its pricing, I'm not only thinking about $69.99. It actually has a very decent sound staging and layering if you consider DACs all the way up to $200 US. But I'll talk about that a bit more in the comparison section. So to sum it up quickly, great detail retrieval, really precise sound, quite decent sound staging, layering, and just the sensation of airiness, and even decent dynamics. Now, I said that the bass line is not the weightiest and most authoritative and punchiest bass line ever. It's more like quick and nimble and precise. But aside from that, given that we do not have that heavyweight punch of the bass line, everything else is actually quite dynamic. Microdynamics are great. This DAC sounds snappy and lively, and string plucks, piano notes, cymbals, everything has its liveliness and it's positively forward sounding. We are not talking about a sedated, laid back and like dynamically flat and in any way flat sounding DAC. But that leads us to comparisons. And my first one was with Hidizs S9 Pro Plus, also called Marta. This one is more expensive, currently at $129, but you can purchase it with discounts around $110 US usually. And these two have quite comparable sound signatures. Both are highly precise, they have great detail retrieval, but actually SMSL has a richer tone timbre in the mid-range. Those vocals I mentioned, they will sound richer with upper harmonics and kinda more simplistic with S9 Pro Plus. And the same way, while S9 Pro Plus has great high-frequency extension, highs with SMSL D10 sound airier and just breezier. So we are speaking about basically the same tonality, 90% of the same qualities, but SMSL doing it slightly better with slightly richer tone timbre and a bit more airiness. So I have to say that it does present a better product and a better value than S9 Pro Plus at the moment. And the next comparison was with Onix XY1. And this one I reviewed just recently. It's a very warm, really soft and mild sounding DAC with really high detail retrieval, but it does it in a mid-range laid-back fashion and a lot of warmth from the bass line and the mid-bass. And because of that, it has that chocolatey sound signature, coffee with milk and cinnamon kind of sound signature. And I really do like it. SMSL is different. In a way, it's actually more linear. It feels that it has more neutral tonality. All the way from the bass to the highest frequencies, everything feels flat. And some things that should sound a bit edgy, like metallic tones or glassy tones, are more metallic and glassy with SMSL than they are with Onix, that put a bit of that softness and warmth and makes them a touch softer and smoother than they are in reality. If you would need to monitor some tracks, if you are maybe editing something, SMSL would probably be more true to life and more true to how that song would sound on a very neutral sounding system after you're done mixing. But on the other hand, Onix does sound fuller, it has weightier bass line, it does sound warmer, and for many songs it simply sounded more pleasant. But what's pleasant for one listener might not be for the other one. Maybe you would think it's too soft and too warm. So to conclude this comparison, I will say that both SMSL D10 and Onix XY1 are equally talented DACs. They're just very different in terms of tonality and how they tune their sound. That leaves me with the last comparison to more expensive, more than $100 more expensive, Moondrop Moonriver 2 Ti. And this one is also neutral sounding, but compared to SMSL D10, it does have fuller bodied tonality. No matter if we talk about string plucks or any other instrument, like wind instrument, saxophone or something like that. All of the details that you hear with D10 will be present with Moonriver 2 Ti also, but there would be a bit more boldness and palpability to tone. Just tone body that makes it more physical. And to my ears that does sound more natural and slightly better, and I do consider Moonriver 2 Ti to be, in absolute terms, a better sounding DAC. However, when you look at their prices and $70 against $180, the value is clearly on the side of SMSL D10, which basically leads me to the conclusion. SMSL D10 is a fantastic portable DAC. And I have to say that after my last SMSL review of A200 amplifier, I was a bit afraid. I know SMSL to offer fantastic value product. They're often best in their class. But that amplifier was a letdown. And I was like, oh no, maybe something is happening. Maybe somebody wants to milk that reputation that SMSL worked to build for years. But now after testing D10 DAC for $70 and hearing what it can deliver at that price, I'm happy to say that something simply went wrong with A200, and it's not new SMSL's way of doing things. This is a fantastic SMSL that we know, and it's a DAC model that you should strongly consider all the way up to $200. Some things might sound different or slightly better to you with other models, but they do not need to necessarily. It can go on equal footing depending on your taste and what you intend to pair it with models up to $200 quite easily. Above that, it's a tough territory with DACs like Cayenne RU7 that are simply better, but that's another story. They're multiple times pricier, and it's perfectly okay for D10 not to be able to compete with them. For $70, it's a fantastic product. And that would be all for today. Hope you liked the video. See you next time.